on social media or maybe on any media like newspaper या कहीं पे भी हम देखेंगे everything says कि हैदराबाद market is booming. बट अगर आप डेटा देखोगे तो रियल डेटा सेज कि ओवरऑल जो है वो लास्ट ईयर से अब तक रजिस्ट्रेशन ड्रॉप हो गया विच इज समवेयर अराउंड 14 to 15%.
Once the sale is done, they don't even care about you. They only call you and कि बॉस अगला 10% चाहिए. For real estate companies, it's hard to even get a credit card, unlike other industries. 80% of our units were sold in the first 2-3 months within the circle. You don't want to lose out on a customer because customer sees everything luxury and affordable.
Is it really happening कि कुछ प्लेयर्स ही प्रॉपर्टी को घुमा रहे हैं? So, hi Arun, how are you?
Very well, and thank you for having me here.
Welcome to the podcast and thank you so much for accepting the invite.
Pleasure is mine.
So Arun, so before starting the podcast, I have two questions. And first question is कि you just mentioned कि you are first generation real estate entrepreneur. That means पहली बार आप कर रहे हो, आपके फैमिली में इससे पहले नहीं था. इसके ऊपर एक क्वेश्चन मेरा ये बन रहा है कि फर्स्ट जनरेशन एंटरप्रेन्योर रियल एस्टेट एंटरप्रेन्योर होते हुए क्या इनिशियल प्रॉब्लम्स आई हैं आपके पास. एंड स्पेशली यू हैव मेंशन वन मोर थिंग विच इज़ कि इमीडिएट फंडिंग की बैकअप नहीं था आपके पास, राइट. एंड दिस पर्टिकुलर इंडस्ट्री रिक्वायर्स हेल लॉट ऑफ कैपिटल इवन व्हेन यू आर थिंकिंग ऑफ स्टार्टिंग अ बिजनेस, राइट. शुरू करने से पहले ही बहुत कुछ ज़रूरी होता है. नाउ माय फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन इज़ कि इनिशियल कैसे आपने सोचा, कैसे स्टार्ट किया, एंड देन वो जर्नी क्या थी.
In terms of the journey, मैं बताता हूँ. So the first thing is that it's not. I was not alone when I started. So one of my friends, along with him, I have started. So he at that point in time he was getting busy in other venture, which is architecture, commercial interiors, and all of that kind. So as a part of his family, extended family, उसके पास एक ज़मीन था in an extended family. So at that point, I was working for Nexus Malls, Blackstone's retail real estate. At that point, he called me for saying that I will not have enough time to spend on this, but there is huge potential in starting a real estate business in Hyderabad. तो शुरू करते हैं. So the first risk factor जो मुझे लगा कि already addressed is that the land is in place. And second thing is we tried to keep it capital light, which means हमने ज़मीन नहीं खरीदा. We have taken it on a development.
Okay.
And where we were slightly cautious was the fact that हमने ऐसी जगह पे लिया था वहाँ पे जहाँ पे we were confident that the product will sell. And we made sure that the product is made in such a way that the product will sell. So in fact, first project only run through sale.
Okay.
Only run. It's very risky to start like that, but then we made sure that additional capital was not put in the land, joint development, extended family land, then a location where the product can get absorbed. Good product. So that's how we started off initially, and it was a small project. We didn't straight away start with 1,000 units. We started with the 80 flat apartments basically. Okay. In an area called Kokapet. And luckily for us, there was enough in the price point that we have initially decided. There was enough demand. In fact, 80% of our units were sold in the first 2-3 months. Wow. Within the circle. So that was an advantage from a cash flow standpoint. But the disadvantage was that there was no discipline in sale.
Right.
You ideally would want to phase out your sale, increase your price points to make sure that the average builds up. So a low margin product for us, but still we were able to deliver. So that was how we started. And second project was an office building.
Okay.
Office building mein, so that office building we have just about 1.5 years before COVID is when we have started. Then it went well initially. There we have raised from some monies from a private investor in terms of initial pre-sale kind of this thing from an investor standpoint. and then started off, and then initial few sales kicked off well, and then COVID came in. Then what we figured out was that in the next 2-3 years it will be very very hard to lease this particular building. That's a 3 lakh square foot of office building inside financial district. Basically that was our second project. So then what we quickly said, that is, first thing what we have to do is we have to exit the investors. Second thing what we have to do is that's a 30,000 square foot of floor plate. Let's have the flexibility of breaking the floor plate into say 2 units or 4 units, so that the smallest ticket size can be 7,500 square foot. Then the third thing is we said we will only focus on end users. So there were a lot of MSMEs who work for an outside market, but they strongly know Hyderabad. They want a space for themselves. They're okay to buy. We focused on those kind of folks.
Okay.
Only end users. Exit investors, get end users in place, and have the flexibility to make it even a slightly smaller distance. And we made sure that we sold that entire project. We didn't hold on to anything, and then we delivered. Of course.
How much time you took to sell out the entire project?
हाँ मतलब फेज वाइज ही सेल किया था बेसिकली, बट इन टर्म्स ऑफ डिलीवरी फ्रॉम से वी व्हेन वी सर्च अबाउट 3.5 years वी डिलीवर्ड स्लाइटली विद अ डिले, अबाउट 6 महीने का डिले में वी हैव डिलीवर्ड दैट. So that was the initial challenge. Then also during COVID, we capitalized on the fact that warehousing was booming at that point, because e-commerce volumes were growing very very fast. So they were focusing on increasing their warehouse footprint. साथों साथ FMCG का भी they were trying to make their supply chains more robust. So quickly we picked up Amazon, a 25,000 box, but still their largest last mile delivery station for Hyderabad. And HUL के लिए we have taken a pretty large one. That's a 2.6 lakh square foot Telangana DC for them. So Amazon is still a rental leading asset for us. Good rentals there. Then HUL, we sold it to an investor. So it was a good product. So an investor came in who has picked it up in total. Basically, we wanted investment per se, but he wanted the entire asset. So we've given there, and then we have executed and we have exited. So what happened after that when we started the next villa project is that we've already through whatever jugaad we have done till that time, we were able to establish our delivery capability. हाँ, जुगाड़ मतलब जितना भी हमने बात किया था. सो बट आफ्टर ऑल ऑफ दिस, अगर फॉर एग्जांपल ये ऑफिस बिल्डिंग का मैं जो बात कर रहा था, माय ट्रेडिशनल थिंकिंग, माय प्रीवियस ब्लैकस्टोन नेक्सस थिंकिंग वुड हैव सेड डोंट डू स्ट्रेटा सेल. Strata sale is going to kill your product. And we have had enough examples, especially on the mall space, where a small strata sale would have killed the entire mall. So there, you were operating for optimization, but here you are operating more for survival. हमने सोचा कि this is the only way we can deliver the project. So the thinking was different. So small little things that we understood on the go is what I'm terming it as jugaad. So by that time we have our delivery capability. So villa project तक जब तक आए थे, so we already have delivered 5 lakh square foot, which is enough for an NBFC to fund you in terms of construction finance per se. Then we figured out we don't have a CIBIL score. ओके ठीक है, हम बड़ी बड़ी बातें कर रहे हैं, अपने पास सिबिल स्कोर भी नहीं है. देन व्हाट वी सेड, एंड फॉर रियल एस्टेट कंपनी इज हार्ड टू इवन गेट अ क्रेडिट कार्ड अनलाइक अदर इंडस्ट्रीज. सो फर्स्ट एक क्रेडिट कार्ड लिया, इसको यूज़ किया. देन वी हैव taken an OD again. We've put an FD and then taken an OD and then used it. So ऐसे करके we have built a CIBIL score also. And after all of that, things became a little more easier. Then, but every time, the construction finance comes with a requirement of promoter equity. What you call, there is only a sizable chunk that they will fund. Provided there is 10-15% at least from the promoter side, 40-50% can be funded by construction finance, and rest of it can come from sales. So 10-15% itself is very high for us.
Exactly.
So we have taken a small this thing from about 10 crores for initial advances for the landowner. Even joint development requires advance, no?
Right.
Free में तो नहीं मिलेगा. So there is a PE who used to fund early stage developers, early stage projects like this. तो उनको some good financial structuring करके वहाँ से 10 crore उठाए थे. Then we gave advances. Then the project moved. Some sales happened. Then CIBIL score etc. is generated. Already delivery capability is generated. That's when the engine started to move. So now we are also flexible that it is about long-term brand building. It's not just about money making. It's also about being true to your philosophy. In the long run, we can scale it. We can probably right now be in a disciplined manner, keep scaling. And whenever there is this thing, we'll let go of project equity a little, get an investor, get them on an SPV model, stuff of that kind. We have done all sorts of models to survive basically. So that's.
So again, going back to the initial conversation,
Right.
How difficult it is to manage finances in real estate, especially फर्स्ट टाइम एंटरप्रेन्योर के लिए तो बहुत डिफिकल्ट होती है सारी चीज़ें, राइट? सो यू हैव ऑलरेडी आंसर्ड इट, बट आई वांट टू डीप डाइव इनटू रियलिटी बिहाइंड मैनेजिंग योर फाइनेंसेस.
Okay. So I think रियल एस्टेट में फाइनेंस मैनेज करना नॉट वेरी इजी, स्पेशली इफ यू आर बैक्ड ऑलरेडी. से आपके पर्सनल फाइनेंसेस जनरेशनल वेल्थ है तो
आपके केस में नहीं था ना ये?
In our case, none of us had basically. All of us were from a professional background. So in that case, you have to take a couple of calculated risks till the time you generate a little bit of profits from your initial, and then have that thinking that I'll not draw the profits, I'll reinvest. By that time एक delivery capability भी आपका कुछ establish हो जाता है. Only thing is initially, instead of saying it is very tough without capital, how do you reduce the requirement of capital? Start small. छोटा project एक ले लो. Then again try to take it on a development rather than investing on land, for example. Your capital requirement थोड़ा कम हो गया. And third, your first product always has to be a safe product. In terms of sale, अगर सेल नहीं होता तो then you are gone. First project will be your last project basically. So those
But
2-3.
ये opportunity, I would say, ये leverage तो हर एक को नहीं मिल सकता.
True.
Right. You got first property, you got first land जो extended family में थी. But if someone who doesn't have this leverage,
right,
उसके लिए तो it's very difficult.
हाँ. So I think इंडिया एक ऐसी जगह है ना, so मतलब इट नीड नॉट बी दैट एक खुद का भी लैंड नहीं है. वन ऑफ माई फ्रेंड्स का, उसका एक्सटेंडेड फैमिली का. So it took significant amount of time, even within that extended family, it took significant amount of time. 2-3 साल उसको लगे for him to convince them that ये मेरे को दे दो.
Oh shit.
It is not that he was आज के तारीख में you are starting, we have a land, you go ahead and start. मतलब जमीन का ओनर,
that is exactly what I wanted to know.
तो जमीन का ओनर भी ये सोचता है ना कि what am I making and is the product sellable, are these guys the right folks or not. ये तो 2-3 सवाल जो है वो दिमाग में हमेशा रहेगा for a landowner. तो वो थोड़ा सा lot of effort you'll have to do. If it is an extended family, nothing like it. नहीं तो आपका extended connects में आपको निकालनी पड़ेगी कि and you should do networking, whatever, blah blah blah. Network से अगर first project निकलता है then you have a higher chance for conversion. अगर आप day one if you think कि यार मैं एक broker consultant के पास जाऊँगा, he will give me the land and I'll be able to convert, I don't think it will be very very hard. हाँ, तो वो first वाले में we were slightly lucky. Of course it also came with hard work, but we were slightly lucky that there was a land in an extended
or
family.
maybe because of prior experience you were able to deliver that.
हाँ, so मतलब prior experience भी नहीं बोलूँगा कि for example at that point in time only it was not that we were too greedy कि बॉस मतलब extended family एक ही land नहीं था, बहुत सारे land थे कि मतलब सारे land मैं ही कर दूँगा, ऐसा तो नहीं है. So we said that we'll start with one, we'll conclude that, and then probably mid of that go to a next project or something like that. That's very important. मतलब keeping yourself a little more disciplined, even when your inner self says I can deliver a lot more. Still keeping yourself a little bit more grounded is also important.
Right.
And at the same time, I think you have to be slightly flexible. Ki you can't be in your first project say commanding the market price probably. You should know that. क्या मैं फर्स्ट टाइम डेवलपर, मेरे को 200 रुपये कम मिलेगा तो भी मैं बेचूंगा. And like I said, we were not disciplined. अगर मैं discipline करता हूँ तो we have launched that at 3,500. By the time we ended the project, it's 7,500. अगर मैं discipline बेचता तो my average price would have been 5,000. But now my average price was only 3,800 because 80% 3,500 में बेचा, only 20% I sold it towards the end. So, but still, the intent has to be that in the longer term what we are building is more important than in the short term whether we are able to generate enough returns or no. So the group of people who are coming together, all of them, if they have similar mindset, that is when you should start basically.
Okay. And how much time like it took you to deliver that project, like from starting to the delivery?
Starting to the delivery, so construction start to delivery was about say 3.5 4 years. But it took us a sweet 1.5 years before that for the approvals. 3 महीने 6 महीने 3 महीने 6 महीने बोल देते हैं सबको, आज के तारीख में भी बोलते हैं 6 महीने में लेके
सबको
आऊंगा.
agree करवाना is 2 years, approvals 1 year, and construction to delivery is 3 to 4 years again.
हाँ, but ये दूसरा ऑफिस प्रोजेक्ट we have midway only we were able to. First project slabs जब खत्म हो गया था, during that time only we were able
Obviously,
to.
मतलब पहला project है तो it's gonna take
Yeah.
at least more time than other projects
Yeah.
because you're also gaining that experience.
No, what I'm saying is, bid of the first project, there was sizable confidence on the people that sales हो गया, they are able to deliver, progress भी decent है. तो दूसरा project we were able to crack and we can able to start basically.
Okay, cool. But हम एक चीज बात कर रहे थे when we are sitting outside, you said you are an introvert, right? And we have done a good research on you.
अच्छा.
You are delivering sessions in lot of B schools, right?
Right.
You also are super active on social media, on
Yes.
LinkedIn, I would
On
say.
LinkedIn,
On
yeah.
LinkedIn, I would
Yeah.
say. And then you said you are an introvert.
Yeah, which I am.
But I don't think so. You are an introvert.
Acha. I think I still am. It's just that a lot of these things change over a period of time. Especially as an entrepreneur, there is a lot of requirement in terms of not just branding the company, but personal branding becomes a very important component. So initially, there has to be a conscious effort and also enough preparation for doing things like this. B schools are my hard favorite because I am also from a B school. So there is a lot of energy that's already in there. So the conscious choice that doing some sessions at B school. But having said that, it's not a one-day thingy. It happened over a period of time. But what I also figured is it is not important to just be the loudest in the room. But if you make that one point clearly and if there is consistency in your messaging, I think that's a lot more important than being the loudest in the room. And it is not just restricted to me. So my company, which is Elemental Realty also, I believe that it's an introvert. Probably a funny statement, but I think why I say that is कि अगर आप रियल एस्टेट में देखोगे, एवरीथिंग पीपल लुक फॉर ग्रैंड्योर. मेरे को सिटी में बेस्ट लोकेशन में सबसे बड़ा होर्डिंग चाहिए, नॉट अ स्मॉल होर्डिंग, एक यूनिपोल चाहिए. और एयरपोर्ट में बेस्ट ऑफ द बेस्ट रिटेल स्पॉट में सारा मैं नया लॉन्च का अपना डाल दूंगा. सो दैट वी आर स्लाइटली डिफरेंट. We believe in our messaging more than our presence in places like this. Point number one. And dusra, what do we market and what do we believe in is the fact that जितना भी बड़े बड़े constructions हैं, उसमें the marketing is always on amenities. ये एमिनिटी है, वो एमिनिटी है, 10 एमिनिटी है, 20 प्लस एमिनिटीज, 100 एमिनिटीज, 200 प्लस एमिनिटीज. Nowadays, 200, 300 amenities. The count of amenities is what people are marketing, while we focus on the floor plan more than the amenities. Because आदमी जो है घर खरीदता है, घर में मैक्सिमम रहता है.
So do you think ये amenities की market is a built up market?
हाँ, मतलब see, you had to differentiate in a crowded market. So people have started adding new things. Initially जब ये हुआ था, that was the right marketing. For example, आप everybody was in an independent house. इंडिपेंडेंट हाउस में आपके पास एमिनिटीज़ नहीं रहते. आपको बच्चों को खिलाना है तो किसके साथ खेलेगा, दूसरे फ्रेंड्स भी नहीं रहेंगे. इनफैक्ट देर आर पीपल हु स्टे इन बिग बिग बंगलोज, इवन इन जुबली हिल्स एरिया ऑफ बंगलोज, देयर किड्स प्ले विद द मेट्स किड्स फॉर एग्जाम्पल, क्योंकि और कोई किड्स नहीं मिलता. So, उस टाइम पे जब आप एमिनिटीज शुरू किया एज अ कॉन्सेप्ट दैट वाज नोवेल, सो यू आर फोकसिंग ऑन दैट, दैट वाज ऑल राइट. बट ओवर अ पीरियड ऑफ टाइम, अगर आज की तारीख में देखता हूँ, एनी रियल एस्टेट डेवलपमेंट विल हैव एमिनिटीज. एमिनिटीज के बिना तो बनता नहीं है. मैं भी एमिनिटीज बनाता हूँ, सब लोग बनाते हैं तो मैं भी बनाता हूँ. बट अ फोकस इज अ लॉट मोर ऑन द फ्लोर प्लान. दैट इज़ वेयर वी फोकस ऑन. एंड द थर्ड थिंग इज, अगर आप कोई भी रियल एस्टेट प्रोजेक्ट में घर खरीदने अगर जाते हो, सो व्हाट इज़ द फर्स्ट इम्प्रेशन दैट दे make you that they create is, you have a very nice sales office. When you enter, there's a nice fragrance to it, well groomed sales staff. You have, say, a miniature model, you have, say, very nice walkthrough. All of that people focus on, but only till the time you close a sale. And whether that experience is consistent over a period of time, the answer is no. In fact, many places, once the sale is done, they don't even care about you. They only call you and कि बॉस अगला 10% चाहिए. So that's when you get a call. So कभी कभी हम लोग ओवरबोर्ड भी चले जाते हैं in terms of our interaction with the customers. कस्टमर्स को हम एक मंथली अपडेट भेजते हैं, बोलने के लिए नहीं है. वी कवर अ लॉट ऑफ डिटेल्स. मतलब हमारा विला प्रोजेक्ट है 251 विलास फॉर एग्जांपल, दैट्स द करंट प्रोजेक्ट दैट वी आर वर्किंग ऑन. उसमें हर विला में क्या हो रहा है, सो देयर इज ऑलमोस्ट लाइक वन PDF. अगर वो प्रिंट लेते हो तो एक बुकलेट बन जाता है. सो एवरीबडी, अगर आप विला नंबर 100 का कस्टमर है, स्टिल यू विल नो कि विला नंबर 150 में क्या हो रहा है, विला नंबर 200 में क्या हो रहा है, विला नंबर 100 में क्या स्टेटस है.
मतलब एक कंसोलिडेटेड PDF है जिसमें सारे विलास का डेटा है.
या एंड इंक्लूडिंग द एक्सटर्नल डेवलपमेंट, रोड्स में क्या चल रहा है, क्लब हाउस में क्या चल रहा है, ये सब सबके लिए इम्पोर्टेंट है. बट एवरी कस्टमर विल नो कि दूसरे सारे विलास में क्या हो रहा है. एंड द डेटा इज दैट इज गिवन इज सो मच दैट कभी कभी ऐसे भी टाइम हुआ है कि कस्टमर्स कंपेयर और हमसे ये पूछते हैं कि यार पिछले महीने में आपने 36 स्लैब डाले थे, इस महीने में 16 ही डाले हैं. क्या मैन पावर कम हो गया, कि आपके पास पैसे कम हो गया, कि क्या हो गया. अपने पैर में खुद ही कुल्हाड़ी मार रहे हैं. बट स्टिल वी बिलीव इन दैट, बिकॉज to avert a crisis is all, you always have to be present much before the crisis. That's the philosophy that we believe in. तो सबको इन्फॉर्मेशन दे रहा है. तो अगर वो ऐसे सवाल पूछता है तो वी डोंट कट ऑफ दैट दिस थिंग ऑल्सो. हम उसको एक्सप्लेन करते हैं कि बॉस 15 स्लैब तो 15 ही डले हैं, बट फिनिशेस में क्या क्या हुआ वो देखो ना. वी हैव गॉन टू अ नेक्स्ट स्टेज. अभी फ्लोरिंग भी चल रहा है, अभी विंडोज भी चल रहे हैं, ये सब भी चल रहा है. तो दैट्स वन पार्ट ऑफ इट. दूसरा ये भी है कि इन द सेम प्रोजेक्ट वी ऑल्सो डू क्वार्टरली मीटिंग्स विद द कस्टमर्स.
ओके.
एंड इट्स अ
फिजिकल और वर्चुअल,
मिक्स ऑफ द टू. कभी कभी फिजिकल करते हैं, कभी कभी ऑनलाइन भी करते हैं. ऑनलाइन इसलिए करते हैं टू मेक श्योर दैट सम ऑफ आवर ओवरसीज कस्टमर्स और कस्टमर्स हु आर आउटसाइड, दे विल ऑल्सो जॉइन एंड पार्टिसिपेट. फिजिकल इसलिए करते हैं बिकॉज यू नो रियल एस्टेट इज ऑल अबाउट दैट फिजिकल थिंग. एंड वॉट वी डिस्कस देयर इज नॉट कि मैं खड़े होकर वहाँ पे भाषण दे रहा हूँ.
Okay, so you take those meetings.
I personally take those meetings.
Okay.
So I am the one who speaks maximum there. Of course, a team is always there to help in terms of technicals or in terms of specific villa concerns, etc. But वहाँ पे हम ये डिस्कस करते हैं प्रोग्रेस क्यों डिले हुआ था, अभी क्या कर रहे हैं, आगे क्या होने वाला है, डिलीवरी कब होने वाला है. क्वालिटी में स्पेशली इन दिस प्रोजेक्ट लॉट ऑफ द कस्टमर्स आर पहली बार जो घर खरीद रहे हैं, जो पहली बार घर खरीद रहे हैं, उनका क्वालिटी क्वेश्चंस बहुत ज़्यादा होते हैं. इवन इफ इट इज़ अ स्मॉल दिस थिंग विच इज़ रेक्टिफाइबल, विच इज़ नॉर्मल ऑल्सो, उनको ये लगता है कि कुछ इशू है. तो कंसर्न्स लाइक दिस एंड व्हाट वी आर डूइंग फॉर टू एड्रेस दोज क्वालिटी इशूज एक्सेट्रा. एंड तीसरा फाइनेंसेस में भी कभी कभी बात करते हैं. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, to that extent, entire gamut of things we take care in those quarterly meetings. And third thing is, we strongly believe that as an industry इसको बहुत ज़्यादा ट्रांसपेरेंट बनाना चाहिए. So that's what you see a lot in my personal efforts. LinkedIn में जो भी शेयर कर रहा हूँ या पॉडकास्ट जो भी कर रहा हूँ, और these presentations that I do or lectures and guest lectures that I do in the institutes are part of that. Make it as transparent as possible, from an insider standpoint. एंड उसमें ऐसा नहीं है कि मैं सिर्फ फ्रेमवर्क शेयर करता हूँ. वी शेयर स्टोरीज ऑल्सो, एक्चुअल रियल स्टोरीज, जो भी बता सकते हैं. एंड अपार्ट फ्रॉम दैट, मैक्सिमम ऑफ दो स्टोरीज आर मिस्टेक्स दैट वी हैव डन एज अ डेवलपर. सो दैट इज ट्रांसपेरेंटली पुट on social media for other developers to see, or other consultants to see, or other prospective investors to see, or prospective customers to see. So that is our philosophy. That is one of our core purpose that we believe in, the experience and that transparency and that trust building over a long, extended period of time.
So, since I've also worked in real estate, so I've seen three things. One is not providing customers with real information, the exact right information.
Right.
Second is कि just needed information is being provided to the customers.
Right.
कितना जरूरी था हमने बता दिया, काफ़ी, इससे आगे की ज़रूरत नहीं है उनको बताने की.
Right.
And the third is what you are saying is providing them with over information or loading them with the information. Maybe that is not even required. राइट. सो डोंट यू थिंक कि वहाँ पे आर्ग्यूमेंट का स्कोप बढ़ जाता है, क्योंकि दे आर ट्रैकिंग लास्ट मंथ्स रिपोर्ट इन टर्म्स ऑफ योर प्रोग्रेस, देन नेक्स्ट मंथ की प्रोग्रेस भी है उनके पास, कॉन्सेक्यूटिवली मंथ ऑन मंथ प्रोग्रेस रिपोर्ट है उनके पास, तो आर्ग्यूमेंट का स्कोप बढ़ता है.
ओके, सो डेफिनेटली, बिकॉज आई थिंक थोड़ा ओवर एडुकेट भी हो रहे हैं, इन द सेंस प्रोग्रेस कितना हो रहा है, अभी क्या हो रहा है, इसमें क्या हो रहा है. देयर इज अ लॉट ऑफ इंफॉर्मेशन, समटाइम्स इट इज़ नॉट रिक्वायर्ड. फॉर एग्जांपल, देयर कुछ कस्टमर्स ऐसे भी होते हैं जिनको, यार मेरे को अपने विला में क्या चल रहा है ये बताओ ना, कि दूसरे विला में क्या है. दोज काइंड ऑफ पीपल ऑलरेडी फिल्टर कि उनको जो चाहिए फ्रॉम द रिपोर्ट दे टेक. सो देयर आर वन सेट ऑफ कस्टमर्स. दूसरे कस्टमर्स ऐसे कस्टमर्स होते हैं कि यार मेरे विला में तो प्रोग्रेस चल रहा है, दूसरे विला में प्रोग्रेस नहीं चल रहा है, इट्स अ यूनिफाइड कम्युनिटी, आप कैसे दे पाओगे. अगर सारा इन्फॉर्मेशन नहीं देता, मे बी वो थोड़ा सा कम हो जाता. बट आप किस हद तक रोकोगे उसको? टिल द टाइम दे आर नॉट ऑब्जर्विंग, दे आर नॉट आस्किंग, इज टिल द टाइम प्रॉब्ली यू कैन स्टॉप. सो वॉट वी आर डूइंग इज, उनको अपफ्रंट ये बताओ, सवाल पैदा होने दो. सवाल पैदा होता है तो इनफैक्ट हमारे ये विला प्रोजेक्ट में देर आर अबाउट 115 कस्टमर्स, ऑल ऑफ देम आर ऑन व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप.
ओके.
115 पीपल का एक अगर व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप है, आप सोचो कि उसमें कितना भसड़ मचता होगा.
एब्सोल्युटली, आई कैन अंडरस्टैंड, बट आई वांट टू अंडरस्टैंड फ्रॉम यू कितना भसड़ मचता है.
हाँ, तो ये भसड़ मचने के बाद मेरे को इन्फॉर्मेशन भी आती है फ्रॉम अ फ्यू कस्टमर्स बेसिकली, हु बिलीव दैट यार तुम इतना जेन्यून एफर्ट डाल रहे हो, बट ये प्रॉब्लम हो रहा है. सो कभी भी मैं क्वार्टरली मीटिंग अगर लेता हूँ, आई टेक मैक्सिमम इनपुट फ्रॉम द टीम्स, एंड CRM से सबसे ज़्यादा लेता हूँ, बिकॉज दे आर क्लोजली कनेक्टेड विद द कस्टमर. समटाइम्स CRM मेरे को आके बोलता है कि सर ये 2-3 कस्टमर मीटिंग से पहले आपसे बात करना चाहते हैं कि ग्रुप में ये सब नेगेटिविटी चल रहा है, बी प्रिपेयर्ड फॉर दैट, फॉर एग्जाम्पल. सो समटाइम्स I be prepared accordingly. In fact, last time recently जब मैं क्वार्टरली मीटिंग लिया था, फिजिकल क्वार्टरली मीटिंग लिया था, उसके पहले मेरे को इन्फॉर्मेशन आया कि बहुत ज़्यादा बसट चल रहा है, पीपल आर लिटिल एंग्शियस, वॉट एवर, ब्ला ब्ला ब्ला, ये वो, ये क्वेश्चंस हैं एक्सेट्रा. तो द नेक्स्ट डे आई स्ट्रक्चर द मीटिंग अकॉर्डिंगली. मीटिंग कैसे स्ट्रक्चर किया कि बॉस ऐसा है, देखो आपके दिमाग में सवाल है, ठीक है, पहले 20 मिनट में बात करूँगा, आई नो मैक्सिमम व्हाट यू वांट, तो वो आई ट्राई टू एड्रेस दैट. उसके बाद आई विल गिव यू अबाउट 40 minutes फॉर यू टू आस्क मी क्वेश्चंस. वॉट एवर क्वेश्चंस यू आस्क, आई एम गोइंग टू आंसर. देयर इज नो क्वेश्चन that can't be asked, but maximum make sure that since it is a group, make sure that the questions are relevant for the project as a whole. कि rather than कि मेरे पर्टिकुलर विला के अंदर एक फ्लोर टाइल में स्क्रैच हो गया, दैट कैन ऑलवेज बी ऑफलाइन क्वेश्चन बेसिकली. देन 40 minutes दे आस्क क्वेश्चंस, ऑल ऑफ दैट. 40 minutes के बाद मैंने बोला कि एक विला अभी दिस इज़ अ टाइम व्हेन वी आर गिविंग सॉफ्ट हैंड ओवर्स. बेसिकली सॉफ्ट हैंड ओवर्स के पहले कैसे आपको विला मिलेगा, 2 विलास ऑलरेडी बन के रखा हुआ है, नेक्स्ट हाफ एन आवर यू कैन गो एंड टेक. सो 40 minutes ऑफ Q&A के एंड में आई सेड यार मेरे को जाना है, दिस अ वेरी टाइट दिस थिंग, बिकॉज आई डिडंट वांट टू प्रोलॉन्ग इट सो लॉन्ग ऑल्सो. अभी 2 और सवाल मैं लूँगा, आफ्टर दैट आई विल हैव टू लीव. एंड देयर वाज एब्सोल्यूट साइलेंस. जो लास्ट 2 सवाल आई वॉज प्रिपेयर टू आंसर, देयर वर नो 2 questions. Why? Because you have already over informed them so much. जितना भी सवाल है वो ऑलरेडी एब्जॉर्ब. पहले 20 मिनट में आपने सवाल का जवाब भी दे दिया, एंड नेक्स्ट 40 minutes उनका सवाल का यू हैव एक्सेप्टेड क्वेश्चन, एवरीथिंग वॉज कवर्ड. सो द लर्निंग फॉर मी इज दैट the maximum amount of silence is where the anxiety levels become more. When anxiety levels become more, it will turn out to be a crisis basically. And crisis में silence is very bad. In fact, so upfront आप information share कर रहे हो, अगर जिस दिन भी अगर मेरे को लगता है क्राइसिस है, मीटिंग रखो, क्राइसिस को ठीक करो. सेकेंडरी प्रेजेंस इज मोर इम्पॉर्टेंट दैन दिस थिंग. लोगों को पता है, स्पेशली सेकेंड टाइम बायर्स, कि यार रियल एस्टेट प्रोजेक्ट में देयर लॉट ऑफ डिपेंडेंसीज, थोड़ा इधर उधर होता है, दैट पीपल आर ओके टू एक्सक्यूज प्रोवाइडेड यू आर नॉट रनिंग अवे, यू आर प्रेजेंट डे इन एंड डे आउट. मतलब हर महीने आप उनको इन्फॉर्मेशन भेज रहे हो, हर क्वार्टर में आके द गाई इज इन फ्रंट ऑफ यू. सो देन आई थिंक even if people have to vent, the venting has happened there. They know that मैं उसके ऊपर वेंट करूँगा तो भी वो रिएक्ट नहीं करेगा, he will give you the right answer. And the intent जो है आपका, जो रियल इंटेंट ऑफ डिलीवरिंग द प्रोजेक्ट, डिलीवरिंग अ गुड प्रोजेक्ट, वो दिख जाता है when you are present. So that's as simple
So
as
that means staying connected with them.
very important.
हाँ, so because if you are connected with them, if you keep on providing them with information, maybe through your team, your CRM team, your sales team, and you directly,
Right.
staying connected with them gives them a confidence in you कि you will ultimately deliver. But Arun, do you think this is way too professional way of delivering information, providing you with the information or knowledge that is maybe not required, right? And इस इंडस्ट्री में where we have seen लाला कल्चर बहुत ज़्यादा, राइट? बिल्डर्स, आप तो बिल्डर्स के साथ जाके, आप अपने ऑनर्स के साथ जाके उनसे बात भी करो, कस्टमर्स के साथ जाके, बट बहुत से ऐसे हैं दोज हु डोंट इवन टॉक टू देम वंस, राइट? वो डिफरेंस वर्सेस ये बिल्डअप करने में, you're putting lot of energy in this.
Definitely, I think that's one of the key things that I wanted to change. That's also one of the reasons that I've started. That's also one of the reasons that drive me day in and day out. जहाँ पे मेरे को ये लगता है कि as an industry, this is little to very opaque. Or maybe slightly opaque to very opaque. I don't know where it is, but on the side of a lot on the side of opaque is what I rate this industry as.
I think opaque to very opaque.
ठीक है, तो वहाँ पे मेरे को बहुत बड़ा गैप लगता है कि बिकॉज फ्रॉम इफ यू लुक एट इट फ्रॉम अ कस्टमर स्टैंड पॉइंट, रियल एस्टेट एज अ परचेज अगर घर खरीद रहे हैं और कमर्शियल बिल्डिंग खरीद रहे हैं और वेर एवर ही और शी इज इन्वेस्टिंग, probably that's the largest investment that he's doing, largest part of somebody's portfolio. आप स्टॉक में इतना इन्वेस्ट नहीं करते हैं और गोल्ड में इतना इन्वेस्ट नहीं करते. मैक्सिमम ऑफ योर इन्वेस्टमेंट एट एनी पॉइंट वेन एवर यू स्टार्ट, बाई वर्सेस रेंट इज देयर, बट जिस दिन आप एक घर खरीदो योर predominant size of your portfolio becomes that. So real estate is a very large ticket item that the customer is buying. Point number one. Point number two is the amount of time the customer is waiting from the date of that first investment. भले 2 करोड़ का आपने 20 लाख की डाला इनिशियली एज बुकिंग अमाउंट, बट स्टिल 20 लाख इज साइजेबल एंड 20 लाख इन्वेस्ट करके आप इन्वेस्ट करते करते यू आर वेटिंग फॉर 3-4 years. So which means काउंटर इंट्यूटिवली आई बिलीव कि ये इंडस्ट्री में सबसे ज़्यादा ट्रांसपेरेंसी होना चाहिए. बिकॉज इतना पैसे खर्च करके इतना देर वेट कर रहे हैं, तो इट मीन्स दैट द ट्रांसपेरेंसी हैज़ टू बी हाईएस्ट वाइल देर इट इज़ द लोअर. इट इज़ if people have to believe opaque to very opaque है, तो then there is a large significant amount of gap. And second also is the buyer is changing. In the sense, earlier people used to do their first purchase say in 40s, बिकॉज मतलब आपका एफोर्डेबिलिटी, डाउन पेमेंट एफोर्डेबिलिटी, होम लोन एलिजिबिलिटी उस टाइम पे आता था. एंड बहुत पहले तो होम लोन कॉन्सेप्ट ही नहीं था. बट टुडे पीपल स्टार्टेड बाइंग देयर फर्स्ट होम्स वेरी अर्ली. मे बी 28-30 में घर खरीदते हैं लोग इफ दे डिसाइड टू बाई. सो दीज गाइज हैव अ वेरी डिफरेंट सेट ऑफ एक्सपेक्टेशंस. उनको ऐसा है कि आई थिंक they are not just buying that product, they need that experience, they need that transparency, they need that timely information that is required for them to have that trust in a particular builder. Now अगर इंडस्ट्री में ऐसा है कि ज़्यादा ओपेक है, so people are choosing because of lack of options, but it doesn't really mean that there is not enough demand for a transparent builder per se. So I think there is a sizable gap in
So
there.
do you think there is actually a lack of like options available in the market?
Lack of options from the standpoint of having a transparent builder per se. So आज के तारीख में builders build their brands. How do they build their brands? In terms of delivery. टाइमली डिलीवरी मैं देता हूँ. तो अगर कोई भी बंदा एक जगह पे जाके घर खरीदता है, वो चलो ठीक है, भले मेरे को इन्फॉर्मेशन नहीं मिल रहा है, कोई भी नहीं दे रहा है, पर ये बिल्डर जो है ना एटलीस्ट डिलीवर कर देता है, बड़ा ब्रांड है. द चॉइस इज हैपनिंग लाइक दैट वर्सेस माइंड. their mind doesn't actually say that you go to a builder, sign off, and then you get it, you forget about it, and you'll get it, you'll not have information, and you should be okay with it. There is a lot of actually consumer के दिमाग में there is a lot of need for it. So which is what we are trying to address. At the same time, I think that would be in the longer run, that could be a big differentiator for us. So that is how I am looking at it. So again, the way you have said that कि यार podcast मैं कर रहा हूँ, not for the short term, for the longer term. Similar is for us. Today मैं इतना over information दे रहा हूँ, it may not be fruitful as on today, but definitely in the longer run. For example, आज के तारीख में भी अभी कोई नया कस्टमर आता है, उन कस्टमर को अगर लगता है कि यार एक छोटा डेवलपर है, ये डिलीवर करेगा नहीं करेगा, इज़ इट अ गुड प्रोडक्ट टू बाई इनटू, इज़ इट द राइट डिसीजन टू मेक, हम ये हमारा एग्जिस्टिंग कस्टमर 1-2 लोग से कनेक्ट कर देते हैं. एंड specifically those customers who have spoken to our existing customers, almost like 80-90% chance that they convert.
Okay.
So which I think initial seed हमको अभी पता चल रहा है कि it is working. And but as a thought process, as a philosophy, I think that in the long term it will work. But as an industry, may not be in the north, but I think south may some builders are still starting to do it. It will happen over a period of time, is my view, and that is the betterment. At the end of the day, I think customer experience is something very, very important. For a large ticket item, for an extended gestation period item, it is always important that, in fact, मैं तो बोलता हूँ कि यार हम प्रोडक्ट ही नहीं बेच रहे हैं. इनफैक्ट वी आर अ लॉट मोर सर्विस बिजनेस. आपका सेल एक महीने के अंदर हो जाता है, बट आपको 3-4 साल के बाद आप डिलीवर कर रहे हो. सो इनफैक्ट आप यू आर अ सर्विस बिजनेस, नॉट इवन प्रोडक्ट बिजनेस, फॉर एग्जांपल.
It's
तो
just
वो,
one part of it.
या तो वो वाले चीज़ जो मिसिंग है, which is missing in a sizable chunk of the industry, is a big gap. So that's where we are.
So, Arun, see, when we were discussing things about this, and then the team was working on how exactly the Hyderabad market is performing, right? So, on social media or maybe on any media like newspaper या कहीं पे भी हम देखेंगे, everything says कि Hyderabad market is booming, राइट. बट अगर आप डेटा देखोगे तो रियल डेटा सेज कि ओवरऑल जो है वो लास्ट ईयर से अब तक रजिस्ट्रेशन ड्रॉप हो गया, विच इज समवेयर अराउंड 14 to 15%. नॉट जस्ट दैट, लग्जरी सेगमेंट भी अगर देखेंगे तो 17 to 18% ड्रॉप हो चुका है. सो व्हाट डज दैट मीन? लाइक इज इट रियली हैपनिंग कि कुछ प्लेयर्स ही प्रॉपर्टी को घुमा रहे हैं क्योंकि प्रॉपर्टी का रेट बढ़ जाए, या इज इट रियली हैपनिंग? या मतलब व्हाट एग्जैक्टली द स्टोरी बिहाइंड इट, क्या रीजन है इसके पीछे?
Okay. So I think first thing, जो headlines हैं, probably some of them are for the sake of headlines. But Hyderabad has been lucky for a very long time. From the time of partition, for example, 2014 में से 2024 तक was a dream run for Hyderabad. There was no other market which has sustained that for a very long time. The reason for that was also 2008 to 2014 tak Hyderabad, there was a big dip in Hyderabad. After that, there was an extended cycle that happened from then to 24 tak. So people want to continue that story, while that story is not the real story as on today. And the numbers that you have suggested, right. So, in fact, Hyderabad, from a inventory overhang standpoint, which is basically how many months it will take um, to exhaust all the inventory, existing unsold inventory. Earlier, it used to be about 18 months. So, 1.5 साल में अगर नया launch नहीं होता है तो existing inventory सब absorb हो जाता. So, bid of last year, it has gone beyond 24 months, 25-26 months bhi hua tha. So that's a true data point. So which means that a little bit of stress was there, but whether that little bit of stress has translated into a price drop, the answer is no. But there were some signs like, say, there are some offers running, things like a pre-EMI scheme, pre-EMI will be absorbed by the builder, or stuff like a home automation is free, or stuff like a modular kitchen is free, have come into the market. And those are the signs that actually say that there is a little bit of a demand supply mismatch. That is point number one.
So to what extent you think these offers work?
Offers काम करते हैं. So for example, for a buyer who understands Hyderabad market for a longer time, for a buyer who has been in Hyderabad for a significant amount of time, they understand that in the long term it makes sense, for example, then offers like this are kind of, you're getting because people cannot drop the price, these offers are there, so you are still getting a good deal, for example. So customers who feel that it is attractive probably will buy during that standpoint. But what I'm saying is, from an outsider standpoint, if you look at it, these are the signs that there is an internal stress, and hence a lot of these offers are coming out into the market. Otherwise ऑफर्स नहीं होते हैं. मतलब हैदराबाद में जो भी लॉन्च करे बिक जाता था एक टाइम पे. कोई भी ऑफर नहीं होता था कि, मतलब इट यूज टू बी मोर ऑफ अ seller's market, which is not the case today, buyer's market. And Hyderabad, I think one thing that is definitely sizably different from the rest of the market is higher price point में Hyderabad में ज़्यादा माल बिकता था. For example, in terms of absolute numbers, we'll come to the drop. Absolute numbers में if you look at beyond 5 crore kind of a ticket, 5 to 10, 10 to 10 and beyond ticket, Hyderabad is after NCR and Bombay.
Okay, yeah.
So Bangalore में जितना units बिकते हैं, so Hyderabad is almost 6 to 7 times the size of the number of units that sell in that particular category compared to Bangalore, because Bangalore is a lot more mature. 2-3 crore ticket is what goes there. But having said that, there was a lot of supply that came in that particular region. So some of the developers have also gone overboard कि पहले 6,000 बनाते थे, 8,000 स्क्वायर फुट, 10,000 स्क्वायर फुट, 16,000 स्क्वायर फुट भी बना रहे. So suddenly when there is a little bit of a mismatch, little bit of a stress, then it comes out in the form of a drop in the sales. So which was evident. What is the core market as on today in terms of the volumes? That is 1 to 2 crore ticket, and 2 to, say, of course it's published as 2 to 5 crore, but I would say 2 to 4 kind of a crore kind of a ticket. So why that is the case is the fact that there is a behaviorally people started liking larger homes, open homes kind of a thingy from after COVID. And also a lot of jobs got created. GCCs are huge in Hyderabad. पैन इंडिया में 2000 GCCs है, जिसमें से 400 GCCs are placed in Hyderabad. And in fact, all new GCCs are absorbing about 5 million square foot consistently for the last 4-5 years in Hyderabad. नया जो भी आ रहा है उसमें 30-40% हैदराबाद को ही आता है.
Okay.
So there is a good preference for Hyderabad in terms of GCCs. One, because talent pool is already established. Second, the infrastructure is good. And third, still slightly affordable.
It's even better.
Yeah. Third is still slightly affordable, especially in terms of office rentals have not gone overboard. High-tech city still, for a warm shell, you can get it at 100 rupees. Financial district, you can still get a warm shell at 60 rupees. So that's still slightly affordable in that sense. So GCCs kept coming in. So the kind of jobs that they create, usually I think you get families with 2 income households. And hence the affordability slightly increased. And also a lot of these buyers are second home purchasers. पहले में थोड़ा सा home equity बन गया, 1 करोड़ में पहले खरीदा, वो 1.5 करोड़ हो गया, 20-30 लाख लोन चुक गया, so 80 lakhs you've already made on your first home as a home equity. उसको निकाल के upgrade करते हैं. So the affordability is slightly increased. So that's why मतलब 1 to 2, 2 to 4 is still an affordable, from the standpoint of customer is able to absorb. उसमें I think compared to the luxury market, luxury meaning beyond 5 crore ticket, where volumes are sizable in Hyderabad, वहाँ पे compared to that particular segment, these segments का inventory overhang is lower. So if you break it down like that, so which essentially means that sales still happening. It's just that side bit of struggle in terms of luxury segment पे थोड़ा सा slow हुआ है. Second, also a little bit of right now because of the arrival of AI, job scare, layoff scare, etc. is there. So वहाँ पे थोड़ा सा stress हुआ. So but still about 45,000-50,000 units get sold in Hyderabad on a yearly basis. So if the supply gets under check for say about 2-3 years kind of a timeline, then it'll once again come back to the numbers that it was previously.
So अरुण, मैं एक ना बहुत फनी सी रिसर्च आपसे शेयर करता हूँ. Now you have to tell me whether it is going in the right direction or not, right? So if you go to Meta Ads library, वहाँ पे अगर आप जाके चेक करते हो हैदराबाद रियल एस्टेट को स्पेसिफिकली, you'll see 2 things. या तो वो लग्जरी बहुत लिखा होगा, या लिखा होगा अल्ट्रा लग्जरी होम्स गेटिंग डिलीवर्ड, या इस तरीके से आप बिल्डिंग अल्ट्रा लग्जरी होम्स. इज इट जस्ट फॉर द प्राइस चेक, या एक्चुअल में लग्जरी और अल्ट्रा लग्जरी होम्स डिलीवर हो रहे हैं?
फर्स्ट थिंग इज आई थिंक सब लोग लग्जरी बोल रहे हैं. अगर आप लग्जरी नहीं बोलोगे, पीपल माइट थिंक योर्स इज एन इन्फीरियर प्रोडक्ट. इफ एक्चुअल लग्जरी वाले ही लग्जरी बोलते हैं, सो देन दैट्स अ डिफरेंट थिंग. इफ द एंटायर मार्केट इज सेइंग लग्जरी, अगर आप खुद को लग्जरी नहीं बोलोगे, अफोर्डेबल बोलेंगे, अरे यार चल ये तो इन्फीरियर प्रोडक्ट है, सो आई विल गो समवेयर एल्स फॉर एग्जांपल. दैट्स आल्सो अ लिटिल बिट ऑफ फ्रॉम मार्केटिंग.
बट ये सैचुरेट कर रहा है मार्केट को बहुत
हाँ,
ज़्यादा,
so
क्योंकि
that-
एवरीथिंग इज लग्जरी.
Yeah, so that's first thing. And second thing, most important, is the fact that the definition of luxury at the end of the day, कि आप because एक particular price point आपने रख दिया, whether that is luxury, और आपके घर के अंदर आपने मार्बल दे दिया, so that is luxury. Or another thing is stuff like what we think. I have been telling about floor plan बता रहा हूँ. उसमें कुछ नहीं करते हैं, बहुत बेसिक चीज़ पे हम ध्यान रखते हैं. Things like say light, things like air, sustainability, low density. These are stuff that we focus on. तो हमको ये लगता है कि these are the new age luxury. For example, you come from a place where आपको breathable air मिलना ही luxury है.
क्राउडेड मार्केट है, ब्रीदेबल एयर नहीं है हमारे वहाँ पे.
तो the way you define luxury is also different. For example, मैं कभी नहीं बिलीव करता हूँ कि यार 100 रुपीज़ स्टाइल की जगह आप 500 रुपये मार्बल डाल दिए तो दैट इज़ लग्जरी. ऐसा तो नहीं है. द फर्स्ट थिंग इज द प्रोडक्ट में जितना भी बेसिक्स है, बिकॉज अ लॉट ऑफ पीपल आर मिसिंग द बेसिक्स, फोकसिंग ऑन बेसिक्स इटसेल्फ इज लग्जरी. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, so that is how we define luxury, ki light, air, sustainability and low density. That's first thing. And second thing is the whole gamut of the experience part of it that we said is also one part of it is कि लोगों को what we believe is कि लोगों के पास जो नहीं है, that if you are providing that, that's luxury. For example, ऐसे मार्केट में जहाँ पे people crave for transparency, people crave for that experience, people crave that builder उनका ध्यान रखें. If you are doing that, that probably could be luxury for some of the customers. Right. Because in a market where that is constrained, right? आपको एक fossil fuel अगर नहीं मिल रहा है उसको निकाल रहे हो, that itself probably is because it is so scarce. You are introducing something that is scarce in a market, so that itself is luxury probably. That's how we define luxury. But having said that, I think there are some projects we have which have a mix of all of that, which are calling themselves luxury. It's good, but I think it's slightly an overused term. Partly because, like what I said, is you don't want to lose out on a customer because customer sees everything luxury and affordable. Maybe he may not pick. That is point number one. And point number two is also the fact that it's just that for the sake of labeling, people are mislabeling a slightly normal product as luxury also. So that's
misinformation भी है.
Yeah.
But see, Arun, ultimately, you're also running a business, right?
True.
It's as simple as that. आप luxury बोल के बेचो, आप उनको basic necessities बोल के बेचोगे, तो ultimately तो business है ही, right?
Sure.
हमारी profit and loss statement को positive रखना भी बहुत ज़रूरी है. Now,
Definitely.
what I've seen is दो चीज़ें हैं positive P&L के लिए. One is या तो मैं बहुत inflated prices के साथ काम कर रहा हूँ.
Okay.
राइट. सेकंड इज कि रॉ मटेरियल बहुत लो स्टैंडर्ड पे जा रहा है या मैं लेबर के साथ कॉम्प्रोमाइज़ कर रहा हूँ. राइट. आप किस साइड पे हो? ठीक है, दैट्स वन थिंग. सेकंड इज कि उसके बाद इफ यू से कि मैं कॉम्प्रोमाइज़ नहीं करता, तो P&L को हम किस तरीके से सेट कर रहे हैं?
Okay. I think apart from these two levers, which we'll also talk about, is there are three other levers in a P&L. Okay. Which also impact. Some of them have a sizable impact. Like apart from construction cost, you also have a marketing cost, which In some markets is as low as 3%, in some markets as high as 10 to 12% also, depending upon the product, depending upon the market, micro market, etc.
What's in your industry?
Because ours is a slightly, just about premium luxury, so that is roughly around 5 to 6% kind
In
of a
your
this.
company.
Yeah, so 5 to 6% kind of a this thing, and you have a large chunk which sits between the gross margin to net margin के बीच में, the maximum chunk goes to finance costs. So how effectively you are managing your working capital, how effectively you are making sure your project is on schedule, saves a lot of money in terms of the finance cost, interest cost, etc. And the third thing is margin itself. So if you go to an established developer, so they command a certain amount of margin which they want to consistently deliver on. There are some new age developers who are okay in the name of establishing a brand for the longer term. Even if the margins are shrinking, they are okay, for example. So that's also another lever. So ये तीन चीज़ को हम बाजू में रख के, इज ऑल अबाउट समथिंग इज एफिशिएंसी. मार्केटिंग में अगर एफिशिएंसी है, फाइनेंस में आप एफिशिएंसी है, टाइमलाइंस में आपका एफिशिएंसी है, कैश फ्लो मैनेजमेंट में आपका एफिशिएंसी है, सम लेवर्स आर देयर. मार्जिन्स इट्स अ पर्सनल कॉल. वो तीनों को बाजू में रख के देन आई विल कम टू द टू थिंग्स दैट यू हैव सजेस्टेड. फर्स्ट थिंग इन टर्म्स ऑफ रेवेन्यू, प्राइस टैग फॉर एग्जांपल आप हाई रखोगे, you can inflate a price tag only for a certain amount of time. Market will course correct itself. अगर कस्टमर एक प्राइस पॉइंट में खरीदता है, दैट इज द ओनली प्राइस दैट कैन बी सेलेबल. सडनली 10,000 में माल बिक रहा है, तो सडनली आप आके आप 17,000 में बेचोगे, इट विल नॉट सेल. मे बी 1 or 2 units in the sake of perception कि यार this is some magnanimous product or whatever, unless it is so different, एक दो यूनिट बिक सकते हैं, बट इट कैनॉट सस्टेन फॉर अ रीजनेबल पीरियड ऑफ टाइम. सो देर इज ओनली स्लाइट अमाउंट ऑफ लिवरेज इन टर्म्स ऑफ द प्राइस पॉइंट इटसेल्फ. एक मार्केट का प्राइस पॉइंट होता है, दैट्स द ओनली प्राइस पॉइंट दैट कैन गेट एब्सॉर्ब्ड, स्पेशली इन दिस, especially when it's a buyer's market. Supply थोड़ा ज़्यादा है, डिमांड से, it means that whatever customer is willing to pay is what will be the price point. And between the developers there is a spread. For example, some brands command slightly higher price, but that slightly higher is only to the extent of 10%, not beyond that. अगर नॉर्मली 10,000 में बिक रहा है, कोई 11,200 में बेच सकता है, ऐसा नहीं कि 15,000 में बेच सकते हैं. दैट इज वन. And second, even on the cost side, because if you're looking at it from a longer term standpoint, it's not, no real estate company wants to do one project and exit, right? So if you want to sustain it in the longer term, you have to deliver a quality product. Otherwise, आज के तारीख में जो बिक रहा है, कल के तारीख में शायद नहीं बिकेगा. So कंस्ट्रक्शन साइड पे, कंस्ट्रक्शन कॉस्ट साइड पे भी, I think some of the larger developers, they have a leverage in terms of bulk purchase. अगर मैं 250 विलास के लिए विंडोज़ खरीद रहा हूँ, 250 इंटू मैक्सिमम 10, 2,500 विंडोज़ में खरीद रहा हूँ. vis-a-vis a larger developer who has, say, multiple projects happening, so they have the bargaining power in terms of squeezing a vendor. So that is also one lever that a developer can have. But apart from that, there are some people who can probably do tweaks, that like the way you are saying here, cheap quality material use kiya, or unskilled labor use kiya, or whatever. So that is also one lever, but that's a very short-termish kind of a lever. That can't be a long-term lever. And what developers try to play, especially in this ultra luxury segment on Hyderabad, is not on the construction cost side per se, the land cost. For example, एक land cost आपको, there are places where 100 crores में एक एकड़ भी बिक रहा है in Hyderabad. Core locations like Kokapet, etc. are 100 crores an acre. The better part for the developer is that in Hyderabad, the rule is not that you have an FSI rule where you can build only this much. The way the rule is defined is, जितना आप ऊपर जाओगे उतना ज़्यादा setback डालना है.
Okay.
So within that, you can play as much area as you want. So there are developers who do about say 10 FSI, एक एकड़ जो 43,000 square foot एक एकड़ जो होता है उसमें people are building 4 lakh 5 lakh square foot also.
Okay.
Yes, there are a lot of projects in Hyderabad who build 4 lakhs an acre. So 12 acres park में you can see almost like 4-5 million square foot बना रहे हैं. So there क्या हो जाता है कि आपको 100 crores है, but if you are building 5 lakhs on an acre, it means the land cost is only 2,000 rupees. आपका construction cost 5,000 है, land cost you have tried to squeeze. So that is also an additional lever that people use. That is the reason why if you see in Hyderabad, the reason why in these pockets where the land pricing is high, you see the sizing of the unit is large because again an architectural detail. So because it is not FSI based, it's only setback based. If you say 2 units side by side, आपको there is no common wall phenomenon in Hyderabad by the way. So 2 यूनिट के बीच में आपको जगह छोड़नी पड़ेगी. So if you have common wall नहीं बिकता हैदराबाद, it मतलब strict no. Vastu is one strict to this thing plus common walls they don't. So छोटा यूनिट में भी आप उतना ही जगह छोड़ोगे, बड़े यूनिट में भी उतना ही जगह छोड़ोगे. So if you make larger units,
But
the overall
why is it so? मतलब वो common wall क्यों नहीं बिकता?
Consumer standpoint, I think they don't like because you have that's how the product has been developed over a period of time. Slightly, there is no dearth of land in Hyderabad for a while. A lot of people had independent homes previously. Plus, you have the luxury of opening up new
क्योंकि वो
avenues of
ultimately
land.
उन्हीं की land में से जा रहा है, उनके area में से ही जा रहा है.
Correct. So, but consumer doesn't absorb. Like coming back, consumer has to absorb a product, consumer has to absorb the price. तो 2 यूनिट छोटे छोटे यूनिट के बीच में उतना ही जगह होगा, बड़े बड़े यूनिट में भी उतना ही जगह होगा, which means that architecturally the efficiency is more if you make a larger size homes basically. That is why between making 3.5 lakh square foot an acre versus 2 lakh an acre versus 4 lakh square foot an acre, the sizing of the unit makes sense. अगर आप एक you see some concepts like 1 floor 1 unit, maximum efficiency you will get, maximum built up area आपको आ जाता है उसमें, maximum saleable area. So इसलिए some of the units tend to be slightly on the larger side in Hyderabad, especially on so that probably that tweak is still there for a while until say that FSI rule has been under debate for a significant amount of time in Hyderabad, but it has still not been introduced. So that is there. So that's also a reason why the land price is inflated slightly. On the other side, because the land price is high, you utilize the FSI as much as possible.
So अरुण, मेरे को अब बिजनेस और कंपनी के स्टैंड पॉइंट से दो तीन चीज़ें समझनी है. सो यू आर बिल्डिंग एलिमेंटल रियलिटी. सो यू आर बिल्डिंग एलिमेंटल रियलिटी. नाउ व्हाट इज दैट वन कोर यूएसपी वर्किंग अराउंड? ठीक है, दैट्स वन. सेकंड इज कि विजन क्या है, ठीक है. एंड देन थर्ड जो बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट चीज़ लगी मेरे को डिस्कस करने के लिए, दैट इज you just mentioned कि you are providing hell lot of information to your customer right from the starting till the delivery. Right? Now once you scale, do you think it will become a problem statement for you, or how you are seeing it, and what's your way forward on that?
Okay. So I'll take the first one. Although we've discussed previously also, our USP is that we stay a lot more design focused, being architects. उसमें भी more specifically, like I said, we focus on, I'll talk with examples, light, air, sustainability, and low density. That's our philosophy that we have carried through all our projects. Not in a great way. Small tweaks also are very, very important. For example, in our office building, that is called Elemental 337. Office building mein, the way we have designed that is that's an 8-floor office space, and niche 5 stilt parkings we have given above the ground. Above the ground. Yeah, okay. we have not gone to the basements because हमें ये लगता है कि basements ऐसी जगह है where the moment you enter You rush, you just want to park and you want to run to the nearest lift, right? You don't like to be in a basement, for example. Now, usme that small tweak of doing stilt parking instead of basement parking meant that आज के तारीख में हम 5 बजे तक लाइट भी नहीं जलाते हैं इन पार्किंग. So that again takes to sustainability, but then you don't want to run after you park. It's a normal, it's a breathable parking, for example. And second thing, the advantage that we had in that product like that is मेरा lowest floor of office itself is 6th floor. Salability wise भी वो better हो गया. And third thing is view wise be it is no longer a ground floor kind of a view. You have a 5th floor kind of a view. Small tweak, but then it goes with our core philosophy. Similarly, other example in this villa project. This villa project is a sub 2 crore kind of a villa. Okay, which is like competing with or slightly lower price point compared to an apartment in financial district, for example. उस ticket size में भी there is a specific setback that you have to give, and people just built all 3 floors with that setback. So we have taken an additional setback on the ground floor, and we have given a small green pocket with a gazebo at the back where दो ही chair रहेंगे, but you can have a small coffee kind of a conversation there. And we have bay windows in all the bedrooms which can either overlook the outside or overlook that green pocket. And third thing is we have a skylight on top. So normally staircases ऐसे crisscross होते हैं. So we have done a staircase in a U shape, and U के बीच में जो है ऊपर में आपका skylight है. So that skylight percolates, that light percolates all through. Additional setback से भी light आता है, ऊपर से भी light आता है. And because of additional setback, you also have additional ventilation there. So those are the kind of small little things that we consciously take care of in all the projects. So right now एक apartment project भी हम बना रहे हैं. Instead of making 2 towers side by side the way in Hyderabad to maximize it, we have taken an additional setback and made it in a U shape. And बीच में आपका swimming pool है. Okay. Swimming pool, outdoor cafeteria kind of a thingy, and everything is wrapped around. So बाहर वालों के लिए setbacks से you have space. Internal it's like a courtyard kind of a view or whatever it is. At the same time, when you wrap around like this, corner में जो 2 units है, if you make it, that guy will not have anything. So instead of maximizing there, making units there, we have actually said those will be lobbies, 2 lift lobbies. So that small little conscious things which we take in every project of ours make that philosophy go through in every of our project. That is on the product side of things. On the experience side of things, where you said in terms of your question was on the information that we are giving. Yes, in the longer term, it's not as easy as it is today, but
it's not easy today also.
Yeah. So we are building a system around it. Even today when we do it, so we use a construction management software. So that's also done by one of our sister companies. So wherein every activity is tracked. So that is kind of a more quality kind of a product basically. So there are no paper trail in terms of checks. Every check happens there. In fact, we have Tata Consulting Engineers as our quality partner there. They also do it through this software. So every activity, for example, आप slab डालते हो, slab के पहले आपको reinforcement check करना है, ढंग से बांधा है कि नहीं, lapping joints, all the big, every activity comes with a big checklist. So all of that is in there. So along with that, milestones are tracked. So milestone are already tracked in that software. What we do is that उसको लेकर के हम हमारे CRM में डाल देते हैं. And one advantage that it tells is कि previously I didn't have a visibility कि यार मेरा collection कितना होना चाहिए. I am always dependent on कि ये विला में इतना ही हुआ. But today I exactly know कि यार आज के तारीख में 10 crore is overdue or 7 crores is overdue, because all the milestones are tracked in one software, dumped into the CRM, and CRM tells how much collection is pending. That's the advantage on the finance side. But apart from that, a lot of information is already captured. So if you have to give information, it means that the information capture should happen. So information capture is happening. You are only refining it and then giving it to the customer.
Right.
whether it is in the form of a report or whether preparing yourself for a quarterly meeting. So because that system we have worked on and we are continuing to work on that system over a long period of time also, we'll be able to sustain, um, given the given that our volumes grow more organically if they grow it like that. And third thing, I think what you have asked for is in terms of what is your long-term vision for this company. Um, Long-term vision I'll cover in say 3 segments. First thing is we want to create a good balanced mix between sale assets and income generating assets, which means rental yielding portfolio, whether it could be in the form of office spaces or whether it could be in the form of warehousing. And for sale assets, which is basically residential, we want to have an interesting mix between the two. And in the longer run, we want to be the most transparent builder, pan India basically. So that is our vision. The vision is not in terms of how much square footage we deliver. The vision is not in terms of how much revenue we deliver. The vision is not in terms of how much profitability that we earn, but the vision is how much impact that we are making to the customer and how much impact that we are making in terms of the philosophy that we are. And definitely our philosophy only has been growing over a period of time. Day one when we started, we said transparency, 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 chalo, theek hai. But today we are living that transparency kind of a thing. We want to live that, and over a period of time, want to be called the most trusted, transparent builder, basically. And and we will not be a very, very large builder because, again, coming back to transparency, because we are not a second generation, first generation, the capital still will continue to be a constraint, which means that we will grow slightly organically, but at the same time, our first project break has made 2 large projects. Second project breaks will make 3, 4 larger projects. That's how we are going to grow. It's not that at one project, at one point in time, we'll suddenly open up millions of square foot. So that's how I sum it up in terms of how elemental, what we are doing, and what we plan to do.
Cool. Amazing, amazing, amazing.